As she dipped her thumb in the cool pool, the rippling waters closed round it. She sucked it before wrapping her pink handkerchief around the swollen stump. The bloodstains shone no more. They had become faded rouge, russet brown. She looked up at the moon, her eyes smeared carelessly with mauve mascara, as the evening air penetrated her nostrils like an invading army. It hurt, but it was not pain that bothered her. It was the noise from beyond the trees, the leaves rustling in the night wind. But she also heard footsteps on twigs, echoing louder, distinct crunching over snapped wood, crackling closer. She walked to the far side of the picnic bench and lay down on one side, her back cooling on the damp wood. Staring at the heavens, she watched stars twinkle across an ink sky, crimson, silver, and violet. A shooting star tracked an effortless course across the darkness. She sighed. The momentary thrill was not enough to save her now. With poison bubbling in her veins, she realized something more disturbing. Even now, here at the end. She knew the will to live was lost before she even took a single sip. Lights were already extinguished. The blackness was descending. It was all she had come to know. Her doctor diagnosed her with seasonal affective disorder. Disorder? Everything was in order. That was the problem. For the first time, everything made sense. It was just now it did. She wanted to die. The potent fluid lurched into her stomach, and she sat up, retching as if it were possible to rid her body of the rancorous toxins that overran her kidneys and liver. She recalled the time she'd been sick with food poisoning. She had looked up helplessly into her mother's eyes, praying not for life to return in abundant waves, but for one tiny touch on her hand. For one tender caress to be permitted to escape her mother's icy demeanour, her midnight frost. It had not come. While she recovered, her mother deteriorated, became more withdrawn, humourless and inhumane. The one thing she retained was the duplicity of her false smile whenever issuing a new put-down. It had been the start of a slippery slope for her. Her nickname at school had been Moni, a distortion of monastery, a childish label she assigned by two bullies not accustomed to 20th century names like Abby, with an E. Her friends had lovingly given it a warm edge. For a while, she felt like she belonged. However, when the results were in, they all shot off to university, and Moni was left alone. While they were busy making posh friends, she was shelf-stacking at the local supermarket. On their holiday returns, her group of friends had gained a new exclusivity. They talked about Freud, Turner, and the Romantic movement. She didn't know anything about the Romantics, and with the crushing realization of her own annihilation, she knew she no longer fit their lives. Exclusivity swamped her. Through the slow absence of contact, she gradually became cast out. The text messages didn't include her. The emails arranging the weekend parties contained surreptitious notes to not invite Abby, and she drags us down. She even overheard a couple of her closest friends saying, "She talks funny," even though they had all talked the same as her as a child. It wasn't any surprise to them, or indeed her, when she felt forced to surrender the one thing she had left, her body, and go on the game. Sex was the only armour or weapon remaining. With no love from her mother and experiencing selfish rejections amid the concrete edges of modern friendships, Abby's understanding of unconditional love was poetic, but entirely theoretical. A desert stretching far beyond her. The deepness of a vast blue sky. The relentless peacefulness of a serene sea. Not having known it firsthand, her ideas of loving and what it would be like to be loved equated very strongly with ideas of heaven, which she now reached out to. She felt within that angel's grasp. Despite poisoned by another, she felt no resentment, just a strange, inexorable drive towards destiny. It was coming. She could feel it now. Heavy and thick like disinfectant over school floors, she smelt when she arrived early. When life was all possibility. When teachers didn't think she was some sort of slut, and when she still believed she could achieve motherly love. The crumpled piece of paper in her lap drew her attention for the last time. Tears began to fall from her eyes onto the unseen, already wet wooden bench. She reached out a hand to touch the reassuring wetness. But before her skin could make contact with the cold, splintering oak, she slumped forward on her stomach, dead. Oh, my ballet shoes hurt. It's the toes at the end. I think they're too small. All the other girls don't wince like I do. They throw them on and swiftly run on the dance floor. It takes me a full 5 minutes. All of them. Apart from Lucy.